Let's move on, Darina, and discuss about this amazing series that you're playing.
Yes.
Kabul.
Thanks to you. Because I don't know if you tell it to others. Fridoon is my coach. I'm doing an Afghani prosecutor in the series. It's talking about the last days before the NATO, the Americans, and the EU left Afghanistan, and the chaos they left after. So my character is an Afghani prosecutor.
When you're playing this and you're going through this series, you're an Afghan woman. What do you see when you're playing? Because I remember one of the days that when I asked you, like, how do you cry on the scene? And then you told me that you feel that. So what do you feel when you're playing an Afghan woman?
My father didn't have papers, neither did us. We had to leave I'm born in Lebanon. My mother is Lebanese. I'm one of the most known actresses at that time in Lebanon, and I didn't have my papers. I had to make a residency papers every 9 months and leave my country for 2 months to be able to go back again. And how the other French who works with me on the tour don't understand why I have to do that. And when they try to be a bit revolted against what I'm living, and I used to shut them because I said, it's me who's gonna pay the price. I'm not gonna take the visa. Stop, don't say anything. She was like, whenever I say this, I feel like I wanna cry because it's so beautiful. Like half an hour later, the Minister of Interior, who was Manuel Valls, called the theater, asked to speak to me. I was like, who's making a fucking joke? Like, can't you have a better joke than this? Yeah. So he said, no, madam, it's me, I'm the minister. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And he said, like, do you know why we refused the nationality? I said, yes, of course, because the circle I'm in. He said, yes, for you to have the nationality, we have to change the law. I said, yes, I know, thank you for calling anyway. He said, no. Tomorrow, 8 p.m., you open your TV, national TV French. I will go on screen and I will announce the changing of the law.
Wow.
So you can have your nationality. As a woman, she had a career. She was a prosecutor. She had a family. She had a country that she was fighting for. Suddenly, she is someone who's escaping her own country, hidden in the trunk of a car, lost her house, her family, her friends, her career, her future, her past, lost everything she knew.
On the right side for the audience, this is a real image of the collapse of Afghanistan, the US airplane leaving Afghanistan, Kabul. And on the left side, you see a scene from the Kabul series that Darina is playing inside the airplane.
It's heartbreaking images because you see, they came, they destroyed our countries, they left, they came back, they destroyed again and more. And look who's paying the price, us. Look at the people, how we are. Look at the bags that I have. Look at them, how they are running. Like, in what divine law permits them to make us?
Hello everyone, welcome to the Untold podcast. I'm very pleased to have with me Darina Al Joundi with me here. Darina is a Lebanese-born stage actor who became a French citizen after Prime Minister Manuel Valls read her review of performance at 2012 Avignon Festival and decided to speed up her process of application for citizenship. Darina is also the author of the book The Day Nina Simone Stopped Singing, which is about Darina's childhood growing up in Beirut during the Civil War. In this episode, we will discuss Darina's personal life, her journey to France, her book, and of course, we will discuss the recent series that she's playing that called Kabul, which is a series that depicts the aftermath of NATO's withdrawal from Afghanistan, the collapse of the Afghan government, and Taliban taking over. Darina, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
Great. Tomorrow is my last day of shooting.
Okay. So I know that you're here in Athens for a while. Has been a while that you're in Athens for the series Kabul that you're filming. So how do you like Athens so far?
Well, I came to Athens the first time in 1979. I was shooting my first series outside Lebanon. Then I came back in 84 for another shooting. And then I came in 87 for another shooting. I stayed 2 years. And then I didn't come until April 2024. I love this city. I love great people. I love the atmosphere in it. It's a city that's very near to my heart.
Indeed, yeah. Athens is a beautiful city, beautiful people, and we will definitely will get back to the series that you're working at the moment, Kabul, and we'll discuss that definitely. But at the moment, let's get to know you more as a person. If you could tell us a bit about your family, about your childhood, and anything that you would like to share with us.
Well, my family, I had the honor to have a father who was like unique. I've never met a man who's like him, as free as he was. He died in 2001, which was like a disaster for me. He was the person who protected me from the rest of the society. And when he left us, the rest of the family and the society came on me like very hard. So today I have no connection or any relationship with any member of my family, except calls with my mother. That's because that's how I am, that's how my father raised me. But I'm a person who became alone. When I lost my father, I lost my country, I lost my family, I lost everything I knew, and I started again my life somewhere else. Otherwise, to begin with, my family is an intellectual family, comes from the very cultural paysage in the Levant. My father was a journalist, a poet, but also, I don't call him a politician. I call him and his brothers dreamer politicians, because they dreamed to have their countries and the region free, democratic, equal, and secular. They paid the price very high for the rest of their lives. They were imprisoned. My father was imprisoned in Iraq, in Syria, and Jordan, and everywhere. They tried to kill him twice. They shot him in the head, which I saw with my own eyes in Beirut. The life with my father was always an adventure, a very risky adventure. Like I learned how to escape from the Secret Service when I was 6 years old. First thing I learned is how to look behind me and to know if someone is following me so I can know how to escape them. First thing I learned was how to talk on the phone with codes, because we know that they were listening to our calls. At the same time, I had a father who gave me at the age of 7 the whole of work of Dostoevsky to read. I saw films like kids didn't have the right to see. I was 11 years old when I saw Clock Orange of Kubrick.
Wow.
So I used to spend all my time under the table, because my father had every night parties with all his friend poets, writers from all over the Arab world, and they used to dance, sing, drink, laugh, say poetry, and I'm an insomniac by birth, so I don't sleep. I sleep very little, and when I was a kid, I didn't sleep at all. So I used to stay under the table to be able to hear all the stories, all the poems, all the singing,
Wow.
the laughs, and that really marked very well my childhood. I started to act at the age of 8. So my childhood stopped being childhood, and it became a mature kind of life, because when you start working at that age, your life changes. At that time, there was only one TV channel in Lebanon, like every other countries, in 76.
Yeah.
So I was a bit, I couldn't really get out of the house because I was very known very soon, very quick. I continued on acting since that time until now. I never stopped. My father was always proud of me and of my way of being. He loved to make of me, to give me the choices to be free, and how free, what to choose and what not to take, what to take. I had this privilege to have him in my life, to live with him, to follow him, because he was exiled most of his life. So I used to go after my father to be able to see him.
Yeah, this is great, because it also reminds me my own father, that he taught us to be the people that we are today, and I'm very proud of that. Tell us about your mother. What kind of person was she?
My mother was the third woman of speaking on radio in the Arab world. So she was a journalist in the press, written press and radio, since 61. She was a very independent woman, but she's a woman who suffered a lot because of the political position of my father. When he was in prison, she was always alone with three girls. We are three sisters in the house. So she had to raise us practically alone all the time. She used to work, raise us, help us to do our homework, be with us. And plus she had to fill the empty space that our father left behind him. Like, first time I met my father, I was 3 years old. Because when my mother was pregnant with me, they put my father in prison in Syria. And when I was born, he wasn't even here. Even my date of birth is changed because my mother couldn't register me the same
write it
day.
down to remember it. Yeah,
She
yeah.
had to get out of the hospital to able to do it. I'm born on the 25th of February, but they put me on 10th of March. So yes, she is a woman who had to face the hard life, the political situation that we were living in. My father didn't have papers, neither did us. Because in Lebanon, the mother, who's Lebanese, doesn't give the nationality to her kids. She's like not, she doesn't honor enough her nationality to pass it to her children. And until now, it's still the case,
Wow.
which is like, I don't understand this law. So my father didn't have papers, neither did us. We had to leave I'm born in Lebanon. My mother is Lebanese. I'm one of the most known actresses at that time in Lebanon, and I didn't have my papers. I had to make a residency papers every 9 months and leave my country for 2 months to be able to go back again. All my life until my 25 years old. Then they gave me the passport, Lebanese passport, but then I left Lebanon and I went to France.
To France, yeah. Yeah, so as you rightly mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, you were 30 years old when you went to France.
I left France the first time. I left for France the first time in 1998, and then I came back in 2001 when my father died. He had told me not to come back if he dies because he knows what he raised, and he knew that people will get revenge from my way of being raised, my way of just being me.
Just being you.
I did the mistake to come back. And
Why?
at that time, because when I came back, my mother and my sisters beated the shit out of me, bringing the husband of my sister to beat me. And then when I wanted to sue them, they did something horrible. It's a French law that was exists since the 18th century, which is the internement familial, which means like if a son or a daughter of a family gets to be a bit scandalous, with two members of your family and two doctors, if they say you are crazy, you become by law crazy. So they accused me of being crazy. They put me in the straitjacket and they sent me to an asylum in Lebanon.
When you went to for
To
funeral
bury
of your
my father in 2001, where I was 33 years old, very well known face of the cultural, intellectual paysage of the Middle East, actress in the Arab world and in Europe and the US. All that didn't protect me from them, nor from my society. So
They
threw
couldn't,
me.
or they didn't want to, or they didn't know?
No, my life didn't protect me from them.
I see, okay.
So they said I'm crazy. They threw me in an asylum for 15 days, which was like 15 years for me. They took me out to play in a series of 180 episodes where I had the main role. I waited until I finished it, and then I left again to go.
So you played in Lebanon in a series
Yes.
after you were out of, okay.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, to be able to prove to them that I'm not crazy.
Wow, okay.
Even though that I couldn't prove it by law. If I had to prove it by law, I had to take all my family into court and bring doctors and witnesses that says I'm not crazy.
Wow.
Which I wasn't sure that my society will permit for me.
Yes.
Because in all means, in all criterias, my life, myself, for them, I'm crazy. So they can flip all my life against me. Yes. And that's what they did. So I left again in 2004, my country. I never went back there for 15 years practically. But
2014, you mean?
No?
You left in 2014, you came
No,
back?
I left in 2004.
Okay.
I left Lebanon, and then I stayed 12 years without going there. That time I was working in France. When I arrived, I wrote my first play, and that play was called The Day Nina Simone Stopped Singing. So I continued on touring with my play. I did another play that's called Ma Marseillaise, which means, in the English translation, Marseillaise, my way. Marseillaise is the national hymn of France. And so I wrote the second play again in France. And then I wrote a second novel, which called The Prisoner of the Levant. And with that book, I went back for the first time after 12 years not going to Lebanon. I went to present the book in the Francophone book salon in Lebanon. And since then, I go from time to time to do a film or to do a series.
But you don't have any legal issue?
Any connection with my family or anyone. I have my dear friends that I can see when I go there. Okay. It's my chosen family, my friends, in Lebanon or in London or in Paris or in US or in Egypt or in Syria or in here. Wherever I go, I have the privilege, the chance, the honor to have a chosen family whom are my friends.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, I read a lot about you online, which I totally understand that you had this very complicated, interesting, and also difficult, and I would say also which made you the person that you're today.
Exactly.
And a great person. So let's just, if you could briefly for the audience, if you could describe the overall situation of Lebanon. What was the problem? What was the civil war there? Just a brief description so the audience understand, and then we can move on.
Yes, actually in Lebanon, it's a country that the problem of Lebanon that we don't have law for all the Lebanese. Each community has its own laws.
I see.
So we don't belong to a law, to a country. We belong to communities. This is the real problem. We don't even have the same history book of the country. Each community has her own way of telling the history of our country. So this is a country that has never been united. And the politicians or the Lebanese, we didn't do anything to reunite our country. In the 70s, the end of the 60s, beginning of the 70s, the problem started to pop up. Yeah. It was an economic problems to begin with. And another problem that the Lebanese loves money. So when in 48, when Israel took Palestine, the Arab countries that they had money told the other Arab countries that they were on the frontier with Palestine that if you take refugees, we pay money for each refugee who comes to your country. Who took the most big number of refugees? Of course, Lebanon. By the way, we are the smallest Arabic country with the smallest population. Yeah. We're only 4 million. They took about 500,000, which is like crazy. Yeah. But we didn't give them the money. We put them in refugee camps. We forbid them even to have
like ceiling?
Yes, like the
like
roof,
a roof, yes.
They can't have the roof over their heads because if they build a roof, they will forget their country. What? They didn't have the right to work in the official places in Lebanon. They didn't have the right to go into schools, in Lebanese schools. So if you put all this together,
Yes.
it will be an explosion after a while. Plus, every time we had a problem, the Lebanese called for someone from outside Lebanon. Like in 76, it's our president. By the way, Lebanon is divided by religion. For example, the president of the republic is always a Christian Maronite. The president of the government is always a Sunni Muslim. The president of the deputies is always Muslim Shia. The minister of the foreign affairs is Christian Orthodox. The minister of, it's all like this.
Yeah.
And there's a law that's called 6x6, which puts every job or every politician or every post
to a specific group and people.
By your religion, not by your
Scales.
Scales, exactly. And 76, for example, it's our president of the republic who called for the Syrian army to save them from the Palestinians. They came, they stayed 30 years, of course. When you call for an army, it will not go out like this from your country. In 82, again, they called for the Israel to come and save them from the Palestinians.
From the refugees, you mean?
Yes.
That they allowed?
No, not just that, because in 56 in Cairo, there was an accord between the Arabic countries that said the only country frontiers that you can use to attack Israel is Lebanon. So, I don't understand. There's frontiers with Syria, with Egypt, with Jordan. Why only Lebanon? Why don't you also do something about it? No, it's only Lebanon. Because we got paid. Again, we love money. And so at that time, also the Christian party of the country called up for Israeli army to go in to help us get rid of the Palestinians. Again, they went in with the army. Do you think they're going to go out after? They stayed 20 years.
Wow.
Every time, even in 56, our President Shamoun called for the English and the Americans to come. They came and they had the country. Each and every time we had like armies coming outside from Lebanon to occupy our country, we did the wrong decision of calling them to come. So for me, it's like everything we live in this country, we did it to ourselves. In the beginning, the war wasn't a civil war for religion. It was a war against the economic crisis, against the appetite of our own country for our religion. Because if you are a Shia or a Sunnah or an Orthodox or a Catholic or a Protestant or a Maronite, each one has a different kind of privileges. So this is not a country, this is a farm. This is, I don't know what you can call it, but
there's no equal right for everyone that everyone can benefit.
And there's no citizenship from each citizen, actually. And at that time, the students in the universities, they wanted to take off, because on our identity card, they put Muslim Sunni, Christian Orthodox. We have it there.
So you cannot change it.
So everybody wanted to take it off from the identity card. People were demonstrating in the street for food and bread. But there was the factories of Randour that they were in rebellion against the owners and the way they were treating them. It was, to begin with, a social, economic, secular movement that they succeed to transform in a religious war, in a civil war, in a stupid war for 17 years, where like practically 300,000 Lebanese died.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes, I know that when I was doing some research that the complex situation still is there, and that people are protesting and the situation is very dire. Unfortunately, we have to move on because of the time constraint. So you arrived in France. You left for France in 90s. So can you take us to the first days or years of your time? How easy or difficult for you was it to establish yourself in France as an immigrant, basically? leaving, and how was the welcoming of the society?
You have to know something, that I'm a person who traveled a lot since I was a kid, and I'm a very open person. You leave me a week in any country, in any city in the world, in a week I know everyone. They call me the mayor. Sure. They will call me the mayor in just 1 week. So I don't live the things I live things differently, I think. Plus, I know the language. I've already worked and had a small apartment for me in the 80s in France. It's a country that I've always worked with. It's a country that I have friends in. I wasn't a complete stranger to the country. And mainly, I speak the language, which is like very big achievement to go to a country. Yeah. And from the beginning when I arrived with projects in my head, with things that I wanted to do. I didn't go there just like this. I knew very well why I was going to France. France is the only country in the world where you have the right to blasphemy by the constitution. This is a right that no one would take out from the French people, a right that they fought for in the French Revolution in 1789. So this is a right that French people died for, blasphemy. That's why when sometimes people talk about France and the way they can talk about the prophet or other things, you should see how they talk about Jesus. Yes. You would go crazy. It's a country where you have this right. If you don't want it or you don't accept it, don't come. Don't try to change something a country paid blood to have. Yes. So yes, it's a country that I've chosen to go to live in, and that I've since day one I worked. I worked in my field. I worked translations for films, for documentaries. I know people who works in the field there. So I was like, there was a director who had made a documentary on Egypt for 12 hours of a documentary that I had to translate. All that helped me to have work, yes, to be able to have papers of my work. And then there was a small niche of the intellectual paysage there that used to know me because I've already worked on co-productions between the Arab world and French, films, theater, TV. So I had my little way of going, but not enough, of course. Plus, I was a bit old, 36 years old. For an actress, is not, you don't begin your life as an actress in a country at 36, you end it. So I knew that it wasn't films or TV that can help me, that I have to do things by myself. Plus, after the experience, the terrible traumatism that I had with my family in Lebanon, words were here and I had to get them out. So I wrote my first play, The Day Nina Simone Stopped Singing. It's not a biography, it's an autofiction, because the way I work is I write my fiction with my truth, with my stories, but I made a fiction out of them. It's not a biography, it's an autofiction. I wrote it. I went to Avignon Festival, which is the most important French theater festival in the world. I was not known at all. There are 3,000 theater plays that were shown during the festival. I was one of them. But since day 2 in the festival, I don't know what happened. Yes, I know, there's a story about it. The public started coming, and at the end of the festival, I was number 2 on the top 10 of the most assisted to of the plays of the festival. I had like press from the Financial Times, the BBC, the Monde, the Libération, like the Repubblica, the El País, the biggest press, all people came, and I started touring with it. I performed this play 500 times all over the world. While I was performing it in Avignon, a publisher, that's Act Sud, came and asked me if I'm interested to make out of the play a novel. I said yes. So I did the work on the book, and the book became a bestseller, translated in 18 languages. Chinese even.
Amazing.
So yes, it was like a huge open door to success, but in my way.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was the way I opened the doors for myself in France. and Europe to be seen as an actress, but not just an Arabic actress, as just an actress. That was my fight, is because everywhere it's not just France.
Tell me about this, because I like to understand what you mean by just an actress, but not an Arabic actress.
Yes,
so
because
what's that? What do you mean exactly?
Like when you're an Arab,
Yeah.
they will always choose you for Arab roles because they cannot take you out of the box. You have to open the box for yourself. It's not them that should do it. That's why I always criticize people who will say, they don't take me except for Arab roles. Stop accepting them. Tell them you have something else. Show them you have something else. This is what I did. I showed everyone that I'm not just an Arabic actress, I'm an actress. Point. That's it.
Put me in any role and I can do it.
I put time for this. I put like 10 years without doing movies. Just my theater. I was on a tour, of course, for 9 years, which was a big thing for me. And I was on a worldwide tour. Like I performed in Boston, in New York, in Washington, in England, in Italy, in Germany, even in Guadeloupe, Martinique, really all over the world. And that's a privilege. That's the thing that helped me to present myself in a different way, so they can see me in a different way. Today, they give me roles of Chantal, Martine, Hélène, even rarely an Arab role, which is my biggest victory on the, what we say, like, they put you all
in the box.
In the box.
Like,
and that's my most successful thing I did in my line of work in Europe is to get out of this box.
Yeah, I can imagine because I'm personally involved in refugee advocacy and I know how difficult it is. First of all, as you say, that it's a personal well that everybody, no matter what, if you're a refugee, immigrant, or anyone, you have to work very hard in life. But at the same time, it's also important for the society that they would have that, in a way, that opportunities for the people that they come from abroad to be able to establish themselves.
But if you realize also that if they come to our countries, it would be the same. And whenever you leave your country and you decide to go somewhere else, you have to accept to rebuild everything from zero again. They will have to know you, to encounter you, to get to, you have to show them. Yes, you have to prove things. Yes, this is it, this is life. Stop just crying about it. Work, show, do, and things will go better.
And it's an amazing message. And I agree with you, absolutely agree. So I have one more question about France and then we can move on. Is about, in 2012, you became a French citizen after the Prime Minister Manuel Valls. Valls, read your performance and then he speed up the process of citizenship, which means that now you're French citizens. So for me as a refugee and thousands and millions of people around the world that we, because of the refugee status that we have, and of course, depending on each country in Greece, Germany, it's very difficult to become a citizen, which limits our abilities, like to travel, to education, and on. For you, what did it mean when you became a citizen? Can you take us to that moment?
Yes. Well, I was working...
Symbolically, psychologically.
I will tell you everything.
Yes.
I was working... touring with the Darina Stop Singing with my French passport and my residency. And I was touring worldwide. So every time I had to go to the embassies to get visas. And each 9 months I had to go to the police station in Paris to get my residency, to bring papers. So I got so tired of this. While I was touring with the Darina Stop Singing, I wrote Ma Marseillaise. And it's about this. It's about my character from Nina Simone, who arrives to France and who wants to have her nationality and starts doing all the papers, all the work. And I start telling them how I have to go every time I go to another country to do my play. I have to go like 3 hours to the embassy and stay there and wait. And how the other French who works with me on the tour don't understand why I have to do that. And when they try to be a bit revolted against what I'm living, and I used to shut them because I said, it's me who's going to pay the price. I'm not going to take the visa. Stop. Don't say anything. And like, Whenever I travel, I had my passport, my card, my residency, my even health card, and I was like, we all,
Yes.
we have this in the head all the time. We have all our papers on us because we're afraid. So I wrote the play about it. And I was presenting my papers in France 1 week before the opening of my second play in Avignon Festival. I got the official letter where they refuse my nationality. Because I'm an artist, I'm an actress, and when you are an actor in France and you are a professional actor, you get into a system, it's called the intermittent du spectacle, where we have rights, beautiful rights. They take a lot of taxes from us, but they give us a lot. Whenever I don't work, they calculate the minimum wage of my salaries, and the government gives me a daily like
Stipend,
salary.
salary.
Yeah. That's why, because they say artists have the right to think without even having the fear of not paying the rent of the apartment at the end of the month, which is great. But this makes us an unemployee in the eyes of the government because we take help from them. A non-employee cannot ask for the nationality. So I was like in this vicious circle going around. I had to change my career to be able to have to present for nationality. I fought all my life to stay the actress that I am. I'm not gonna arrive to France, change my career to have nationality. I don't want your nationality. If it's this, the rule to have it. So 1 week before the opening, I just added one sentence in the end of my play where I say, they refused the nationality for me, and I sing the Marseillaise and I leave the scene,
The stage.
The stage. The press came, and the newspaper Le Monde, which is like the known newspaper in France, the responsible of the theater part of the newspaper wrote the manchette, and she said, Marianne is the symbol of the French Republic, where in every mairie, in every ministry, you have like the statue of Marianne. She's the symbol of the French Republic. So the journalist wrote, Marianne doesn't know her sisters anymore. Which was like, whenever I say this, I feel like I want to cry because it's so beautiful. Like half an hour later, the Minister of Interior, who was Manuel Valls, called the theater, asked to speak to me. I was like, who's making a fucking joke? Like, can't you have a better joke than this? So he said, no, madame, it's me, I'm the minister. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know. And he said, like, do you know why we refused the nationality? I said, yes, of course, because the vicious circle I'm in. He said, yes, for you to have the nationality, we have to change the law. I said, yes, I know, thank you for calling anyway. He said, no. Tomorrow, 8 p.m., you open your TV, national TV French. I will go on screen and I will announce the changing of the law.
Wow.
So you can have your nationality. And in French, we say que tu puisses porter les couleurs de la République haut et fort. So you can hold the colors of the Republic high in the sky and you represent our country. Of course, I was crying. Next day, he was on TV. He announced the changing of the law. I presented again the papers, and I got my nationality, my passport in hand. It was 31/12/2012.
Wow.
For the New Year's Eve. Yes, because the New Year's Eve, I was like, And at that time, life changes.
Yes, absolutely.
I don't have to go to embassies anymore. I can travel with my passport. And even in the Arabic countries, where as Lebanese, I had to have visa, as French, I don't need visa. Can you imagine this? Like,
yes.
So yes, having the passport changed my life, changed my way of being, because I don't have to do any papers, any police stations, any embassies, nothing. I just live.
Exactly. This is great, and
but
actually, yes.
I would never feel that I'm a first-class citizen. Whenever you leave your country and you go to another country, you will always be second-class citizens. And today with Bardella, who won, just said, like, if you are a double nationality, you can't have sensitive post to work in France. Like, say, oh yeah, so you have French and French less French. That's the French less. Me.
Yeah. Darina, it's amazing to hear all these inspiring stories and experiences that you have. And actually, one of the main reasons that I have this podcast is just to advocate for all these issues that personally I face leaving country, being able to continue my education, not only meet thousands and millions of people. And the only message that I have and we have is that we want to live like normal people, and we are here to work, and we are happy to pay taxation and to be part of the society and to be respected equally. This is a question that I ask all my guests. It might be tough. You don't have to answer. But what has been, throughout all years of your life, what has been the worst experience or memory that you have? Something that
The asylum. The asylum, where they put me inside, third class. I was in a big hangar with 17 crazy women, getting beaten, getting humiliated, getting... The marks that I have on my body will never leave me. My body has its own memory, and it's the worst memory it can have. I've been beaten 9 times in my country. I have the bruises on all my body, the stitches on all my body, but nothing marked me for life like the asylum. I wasn't crazy, and they treated me as crazy, dangerous person. I was a great artist. I was treated like shit. I was like less than human there. Animals were more well treated than me inside. This I will never forget. I will never forgive. And I'm happy that the rage inside of me, I can take it out and do something artistic about it. It's not important what they did to me. The important thing is what I do with it.
Yeah. Let's move on, Darina, and discuss about this amazing series that you're playing.
Yes.
Kabul.
Thanks to you. Because I don't know if you tell it to others. Fridoon is my coach. I'm doing an Afghani prosecutor in the series. It's talking about the last days before the NATO, the Americans, and the EU left Afghanistan, and the chaos they left after. So my character is an Afghani prosecutor. I don't speak Afghani. I'm not Afghani. They casted a lot of actresses all around the world. They've chosen me. Thanks. Some people would say, why didn't they choose an Afghani woman? Well, you have to ask them. Maybe I'm too good.
Yes, absolutely.
And finally, I'm working with you to... In the beginning, they told me that I had only 2 scenes in Afghani, which was the case. But I think that the writers fought for the family, the Afghani family, to speak Afghani between
each
them,
other,
which is logic, common sense.
Yeah.
So, except that made me suffer a lot. But thanks to you, my dear Fridoon, my
pleasure,
beautiful
of course,
coach, we're succeeding of respecting the subject we're talking about, respecting the Afghani woman I'm talking about, and I'm trying to act, respecting the people that we're talking about by being at least perfect of speaking Afghani.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure working with you, an amazing team that I'm working. It's been a very great experience for me personally, and I'm enjoying it every moment of that. And to work with such great actors and actresses and the whole team, so I'm learning a lot at the same time.
We are really privileged.
Yes.
We have a beautiful
and
team.
I'm extremely, although I'm part of the series and I'm there, I'm extremely excited and looking forward to watch the series, and I invite everyone to watch this. So tell me about a bit more about your character, because you said that you're playing as an Afghan women prosecutor. When you're playing this and you're going through this series, you're an Afghan woman. What do you see when you're playing? Because I remember one of the days that when I asked you, like, how do you cry on the scene? And then you told me that you feel that. So what do you feel when you're playing an Afghan woman?
If I put the question for you, it's the same. If I put you in the condition of the shooting, if I put you in the character of the shooting, you would have the same feeling. If you are in the moment, if you are honest with the character that you will doing, you will feel what this woman will feel. As a woman, she had a career, she was a prosecutor, she had a family, she had a country that she was fighting for. Suddenly, she is someone who's escaping her own country, hidden in the trunk of a car, lost her house, her family, her friends, her career, her future, her past, lost everything she knew. I lost everything I knew the same way.
Yeah.
I've lived through civil war. I was hidden in cars and trying to escape my country in boats and airplanes and cars and by foot. I've been there, done that. And like all my Lebanese friends, when I post some of the pictures of the shooting, they all say, been there, done that. Because we've been there.
Yes.
When you experience this, it's so beautiful that life gives me the chance to use all this in an artistic way to help others, to represent others, to bring them an aspect of what they lived or we live or they will live. Mm-hmm. This is the best part of the art, when you can use all your traumatism, all your hurt, or your tears, or your laughter for an artistic work. This is the most beautiful gift you can ever have.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have some images and I want to show you later, but just one more questions and then I will show you these images. I would like to ask you if you know when and how we could watch the series for the audience also.
Kabul?
Well. Yes.
That we're doing. I think it's going to be in January. Mm-hmm. I think so, because now when we finish the shooting on the 6th of July, the director will go to do the post-production, the editing, the coloring, the mixing, the music, whatever she has to do, the special effects. And then I think we will be ready for the winter. It's going to be on French TV, France 2, on ZTV, the German TV, on Rai TV, the Italian TV, on Holland TV, on RTBF, the Belgium. It's going to be also in Sweden and Switzerland. But I think there's also a platform that's interesting in buying the series. So it's going to be on a lot of countries on their TV channels and hopefully on a platform also.
Yes, yes. I'm also hoping that one of the Greek TV channels would be
yes,
able
I think
to,
so,
to
because
air it because
they gave us like Greece is becoming a place for us from Europe to come and shoot here, because it's a country that gives lots of facilities for us, and they know how to do the job, and they have beautiful country that we can use as a different locations.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Darina. So at this point, I would like to show you some images, and I would appreciate to have your immediate response for those.
Yes.
So the first image that I want to show you is
Lebanon. The Lebanese port, 4th of August. Yes, this is the most important image to represent the corruption in my country. This is the corruption. What can I say? This is how we destroy our own countries. This is it. We don't need anyone else. We do it by ourselves.
And an image of the President Emmanuel Macron and Emmanuel
Valls. Well, it's such a sad moment for us in France, because yesterday it was the first round of the new elections, and the right wing, the extreme right wing, just won. There are 13 million of French people voted for the fascists. So it's a sad moment, and all of them, they are responsible of this result for the last 40 years. All the politicians, the presidents, the PM are responsible. So I tell them, you are responsible of what we have today.
So this is an image that I found.
Kabul.
So on the right side for the audience, this is a real image of the collapse of Afghanistan, the US airplane flying, leaving Afghanistan, Kabul. And on the left side, you see a scene from the Kabul series that Darina is playing inside the airplane.
Well, this is one of the pictures that the Lebanese said, been there, done that. It's heartbreaking images, because you see They came, they destroyed our countries. They left, they came back, they destroyed again and more. And look who's paying the price. Us. Look at the people, how we are. Look at the bags that I have. Look at them, how they are running. Like, in what divine law permits them to make us, sorry, like this?
This is a real image of the NATO withdrawal from Afghanistan, and you see that this is an airport, and you see that the NATO soldiers actually, and then Afghan people that they're trying to climb up or get inside, and then they're handing out a child, a baby.
At least let them save their baby. That's horrible. That's horrible. But it's the thing that is like we are succeeding in practically putting these images in the series, and I really hope that this series, when you put these images on TV, that people will ask themselves questions. In French we say se remettre en question, that you put everything in questioning all over again. Maybe once we'll stop making the same mistakes that we all did all in our history.
And this is another image, last image. I'm just showing these images because I think this is very important that since you're playing in the series, this is a real image, again, that you will see it in the series, very similar. Just chaos, people
chaos,
escaping.
people paying the price, people getting to lose all humanity that they have. This is the story of all our lives that comes from the South Hemisphere. We pay the price.
Darina, thank you so much. We are almost on the last segment of our interview. I will ask you a couple of questions, and I would appreciate your
Go ahead.
brief response. What has been the biggest injustice against you, in your opinion? The biggest injustice against you, in your opinion?
The asylum, again.
Do you consider yourself as a victim?
No, not at all. I'm a fighter.
What or who have you missed the most?
My father.
And last question. If you had the power to display a message that everybody in the world could see it, what would you write there?
Live and let live.
Darina, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure of
Thank you
having
for
you,
having
and
me.
great experience working with you, being in this part of the series. And I wish you success, happiness, joy, and for the rest of your life and everything else that you do.
To you too. Thank you for having me.
And everyone, thank you so much for watching us. And